A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. On the first day of the week, Mary of Magdala came to the tomb early in the morning, while it was still dark, and saw the stone removed from the tomb. So she ran and went to Simon Peter and to the other disciple whom Jesus loved, and told them, "They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we do not know where they put him." So Peter and the other disciple went out and came to the tomb. They both ran, but the other disciple ran faster than Peter and arrived at the tomb first. He bent down and saw the burial cloths there, but did not go in. When Simon Peter arrived after him, he went into the tomb and saw the burial cloths there, and the cloth that had covered Jesus' head, not with the burial cloth, but rolled up in a separate place. Then the other disciple also went in, the one who had arrived at the tomb first, and he saw and believed. For they did not yet understand the scriptures, that Jesus had to rise from the dead. The good news of salvation. We sent out last week a song called Alleluia. If you heard it, great. But if not, you as a viewer should be able to get it on your Facebook page. Each time I heard the song this week, I found myself filled with tears. I thought of the many people I love, those we have not been able to see this past year, friends who are dear to me and us, and yet stand on opposite sides of the political debate. Loved ones who are on the border, fleeing their homes for a safer space to live in. Refugees who are still hanging on the cross, dying from the COVID, poor drinking water, crowded conditions, and ongoing dismantling of justice for all ethnic families, Black, Brown, and Asian. The painful divide between differing religious groups, hate fomenting among people who fear the embrace of different ideologies. I find myself standing at the foot of the cross, lost in grief for so much. And yet today, we know that our God has the last word. It is not death, but life. But even the word of life, Christ, did not penetrate the hearts of all. God gives us freedom to embrace him and to know him. The evidence of his resurrection was clear. He was real. He could be touched. He ate food with his followers. He was not a ghost. Ronald Rolheiser says, "But his rising from the dead was not a brute slap in the face of his critics. The resurrection didn't make a big splash. It was not some spectacular event that exploded into the world at the highest evening news. Rather, it had the same dynamic as the incarnation. After he rose, Jesus was seen by some, but not all. Understood by some, but not others. Some heard him and changed their lives. Others were indifferent. Others understood his message, but hardened their hearts and tried to destroy his truth." Rolheiser notes the parallels between Jesus' birth and resurrection. Jesus was a human baby. He was seen by some and not by others. Some got the meaning of his birth, others did not, or they were indifferent. Some, like Herod, sensed the meaning of the child, but hardened his heart and tried to destroy him. Why do you think there were these differences? What makes some see and come to believe while others do not? What lets some understand the mystery and embrace it while others are indifferent or hateful? Hugo of St. Victor used to say, "Love is the eye." When we look through the eyes of love, we see more clearly. We understand and we grasp the mystery. Unfortunately, though, the opposite is true. When we look through the eyes that are jaded, critical, jealous, or bitter, we miss the meaning and beauty of the mystery of life. In today's gospel, Jesus is risen. The first of all the witnesses was Mary Magdalene, who was driven by love to find him. Others remained locked behind the doors inside their own worlds of fear and mistrust. But love seeks out its beloved. Magdala came with spices to embalm the body of Jesus, and she found the body not there. We know she runs to find Peter and the beloved disciple, who in turn run to the tomb. Peter enters the tomb, but doesn't understand the empty tomb. However, the beloved disciple, John, enters and sees with the eyes of love and understands. Love grasps mystery. Love is the eye. It is what lets us see and understand the resurrection. Imagine looking at someone you love. We see them for who they are, yes, their shortcomings, but also we see them in all their glory. After the resurrection, some saw Jesus, but others did not. Some grasped the resurrection, and some did not. Those with the eyes of love recognized him and knew him as love. I started my reflection about my pain and grief, the loss of so much, at times hopeless and blind to goodness. Will we ever know love in our world with so much diversity? Can we find a way to cross the borders of fear and distrust? Can we find a way to peace for the many who are broken by disease, war, and hatred? At times I am blind to life and hope, stuck in my lack of expectation and despair. Yet God has the last word, and it is not death. Rather, Christ is risen, though I may not see him. I don't always notice the spring as she comes every year, stealing her way into full bloom. It's there to be seen, but whether we see or not, and what precisely we do see, depends mainly on what we hold in our hearts. Can we trust love? The divine in the little ways, like crocus, daffodils, the birth of new life, a hug, laughter from a child, a smile, and even the death of a dear one. They are all whispers of the resurrection and the promise of eternity.